May Doblau here, May Doblau with YesFinanciallyFree.com, and today we're going to talk about 5 steps to your life's calling, and it's based on this book, Your Life Calling. So we're going to talk about 5 steps to get your life's calling. Before I begin, my name is May Doblau. I live in Waikiki with my husband Jamel and our 9-year-old son Jordan. Back in 2000. Hi, Candace. How are you doing? Nice to see you. Back in 2011, I had over $30,000, probably close to 40, maybe $40,000 of credit card debt. And then by 2016, I paid off all my debts, quit my job, started coaching clients that I did. My blog, YesFinanciallyFree.com. You can check that out. The link is under this video if you're on Facebook and in YouTube. If you're on Instagram, it's in my profile. So check it out. There's a blog post today with everything I'm going to talk about. So Your Life's Calling is interesting because when I quit my job, paycheck, the people were nice, okay? It's not that I didn't like the people. The clients were nice, but I just didn't like the work I did. It was boring, copying, scanning, filing, doing a lot of paperwork. It was really boring stuff, like super boring. So talking to clients is one of the most interesting part of the job. So finally, I got the guts. When I finally paid off all that debt and everything, I just quit. I was like, I'm going to try this blogging thing. I'm going to try this coaching thing, finance freedom. I'm going to do more investing. I'm going to see if I can make it on my own. And now what I really wanted to do was be a mom and to, spend time with my son and have a family. And that seems so counterintuitive because I went to a good college and I got a great college education. And, being a mom is like, you don't need a college education to be a mom. Well, I don't know about that now. Nowadays, you have to educate your kid on everything it seems at home. But we'll move on from there. So let's go into the blog. Before I begin, just check out the blog, YesFinanciallyFree.com. Okay? So if you're on the right side of the blog, my email list, and get a free ebook, Working Parents Guide to Financial Freedom. So that's right there on the right side. It says, ready for financial freedom, put your first name, email address, hit the yes button. And that's how you get the free ebook and get on my email list. And then, like I said, today's blog is calling. So let's begin. The first step is look around. Really interesting. There's Thomas and Connie Betts. They found their calling to raise alpacas. Okay, it's like this kind of animal that has really soft fur, wool. And so alpacas, so if you raise them and then you turn their fur into yarn, you can sell it, make really soft sweaters. So how did they find it? He was into sailing, right? So he had this business where he was creating ropes for sailing. He sold it. He started working as a manager in a shop that sold product. And this guy came and bought a ton of rope, and he needed it for his alpacas. I don't even know if I'm saying it right. So then he got interested. What are alpacas? So he got a tour of his farm, all that. He decided with his wife, let's go raise alpacas. So that's what they did. And they created a whole farm, a tourist attraction, and they love it. So he was just looking around and something popped up. He's like, that looks interesting. And then the whole change in their life. Another man named Joe was extremely pessimistic. He was always thinking something was out to get him, right, that way. So he ended up deciding he wanted to hike the Appalachian Trail. And he spent 12 years getting ready, okay? He decided he would do it in 2008. He's like, I'm going to retire then. I'm going to take a year to prepare, and then I'm going to do it. It's going to take me 6 months. I got to train. I got to get ready. So he started researching it. He started learning everything he could about it. He would, when the temperatures got really low, sub-zero, he would go out and camp just to make sure he knew how to camp and be comfortable in sub-zero temperatures. He would hike mountains, his local mountain, to make sure he could get up and down, no problem. He would just got prepared. It just changed his life because he had this huge goal he was working towards. And then after it, he actually started a band, made him see the world differently and be more appreciative and open and positive and optimistic. Step 2 is make small changes. So you might know you don't like what you're doing, but you can't just figure it out, right? Make small changes. So this story is about a golfer. He's a PGA golfer. His name is Michael Allen, and he's not good. He's like number 200 out of 200. Okay, he's not good. And that's in his 30s. He's just not getting it. He's not doing well. So he ends up quitting winning, doing other things, medical sales, building houses. He does terrible at that. He's at one of these Phoenix Open with his friends, and his friends are like, "You're a better golfer than all these people." So then they raise money to send him back to the tour, and he tries again. And this time he does small changes. So what does that mean? He gets a trainer, a different trainer. Okay. He changes his fitness from just jogging and running to actual exercises that will help him with his golf. And he goes and consults a sports psychologist to help him with his mental game. And then he joins the tour in 2004. He starts doing way better. 2009, he gets invited to Champions tournament, and and now he's like doing great. He makes $1 million a year, from his winnings, and he's doing awesome. And so it's just, he was already doing what he liked, but he just had to make some changes. Just change what you're doing, and then you can make your dreams come true. All right, this is another one. Step 3, watch out for your ego. Love yourself in your ups and your downs. Okay, so sometimes your ego is what stops you, and that kind of was what was going on with me before. And I was reading this book, and there's a story about this guy named what was his name? Let's see what his name is. I don't think I have his name in here. I'll have to go read it. But anyway, he graduated from Stanford, and he became an alcoholic. Okay, he had jobs and he was working, but he lost his jobs, and because he became and he just didn't work for him, and he ended up being homeless on Skid Row in LA, on a street, living in a box. He was slim. He gave up his name, gave up everything, and one day, after years of living on Skid Row, he came to this epiphany, and this is what he says in his own words. I'm drinking, but it's having no effect. I can't get a high anymore. I don't know where the impulse came from, but I just started to talk to God, and I just thanked him for the wonderful parents and all the opportunities and everything that I had in my life. And I acknowledged I am an addict. I am an alcoholic. I'm here on Skid Row, and I'll probably die here. I was okay with that. The fight was gone. I had given up. I had surrendered, which was the first step in turning my life around. Help, like, I think we can organize this better. I know some ideas. So he started volunteering first in the dining room, and then he and this other volunteer, they decided to really spruce things up, get nice clothes, look real nice, iron their clothes, look really good, just take their job seriously and make it great. And hi for that. And so they started doing that, and then they made their jobs awesome, and they did that. And then he's being promoted from Excel to organize the inventory, and they're like, "What? Who are you? How do you know Excel?" Right? But he didn't want to tell them that he graduated from Excel so far, right? Because of ego. I'm homeless on Skid Row, volunteering in his dining room. So that was one of his things. So ego can be something you have to look out for. So if you want to find, happiness, joy, your life's calling, watch out for what your ego is telling you. Watch out for what it's saying. Hi, Sadat, how you doing? Make sure that your ego is not stopping you from following your life's calling. Just because in the past maybe you were a doctor. Doctors have problems with this, actually. A lot of people who are doctors go from doctor, what are you going to be next? Right? Doctors, now you're not a doctor. What if you want to work at McDonald's for a while, take a break? People are going to look at you like, what are you doing with your life, right? So ego, watch the ego. Give up the pride. Just listen to, and that's the next step. Listen to your inner voice. Okay? Oh no, sorry. The next one is turn your pastime into a career. All right? I'm doing great things. So there's a story of Betsy McCarthy. She quit her job to do knitting full time. She was a 6-figure salary executive in a health insurance company, healthcare company or something. So she was really high status, and her ego didn't bother her at all. She just quit, and she was like, she always loved knitting, so she made knitting full time, and all she did was knit. She created knitting groups. She didn't do a knitting business. She didn't want to open a business. She just wanted to knit. She created communities for knitters. She wrote a book on knitting, knit socks. She teaches classes on cruises for knitting, and she just does it all the time. She just loves it. It's just something she just loves. So that's what she does. She doesn't make a lot of money doing it. She makes low 4 figures, okay? Like a couple $1,000 a year, maybe, right? That's it. But she loves it, and she can afford to do it. The condo with no mortgage, they can afford it. And so that's what There's another lady, Jan Erickson, and throughout her life, she liked to volunteer and help people and take care of people. And she was a candy striper when she was a teenager, and later on, she started being a care minister. And she, for part-time thing at her church, and she would go visit the elderly. She always loved taking care of the elderly. So one of the people she visited, she didn't have comfortable clothes, and she was always cold. The hospital was cold, or the care center wherever she was going was cold. So she had this dream that she wanted to design this sweater, right? So she ended up talking to her husband about it, like, I have this dream. I really think we should design this jacket. I thought it was a jacket that opened in the back that her client could wear. So they researched, they figured it out, they found a good material, they made this jacket, and the elderly Canada sell clothes for elderly, for wellness, and they also have other clothes that are just focusing on comfort. So very interesting. Step 5 is listen to your inner voice that I'm going to share here, and this is a really important one. There's one about Ken Wood. He's a well digger by profession. He had a business where he does well. He retired, sold his business, and he had all these racing cars and racing horses. He did well. And these people wanted to buy his rig, his well, and it cost $75,000. And they're like, oh, I don't know. And then they came back the next week, and he said, like, can we rent it and show what it is to our town, and then we can fundraise and make the money to pay for it? And he said, sure. So they did that. They raised the money. They bought the rig. And then they asked him, can you come with us to Ghana to help us? Because we don't know how to use it, right? And he's like, no. It was like maybe, but he really meant no. But then later he went to a meeting that was completely unrelated, and the speaker was from Ghana, and he was talking about the lack of clean water, right? So what ends up happening is he saw that as a sign from God that, okay, maybe I'm supposed to go to Ghana. So he goes to Ghana, and he used thousands of lives, and he just keeps going back. He drills wells. The natives there have given him a name. They pray for him that he may always have long life because he saved so many thousands of lives in Ghana. And that's what he does now. And he sold all his race cars to pay for his trips and everything, but he uses his race horses to make money so that he can go to Ghana and build wealth. And the last story is Kirk Rademacher. He was just walking on the beach. He was going through a divorce at the time, and he was in a very high stressful job. He was making cabinets for people. He was a manager, a project manager, this, that, whatever. So he ended up going to the beach to relax one day, and then he sees people making a stand, and then he joins a group. He reads a book. He starts doing it for fun and with the groups, and then he gets invited, and then he realizes this is what he wants to do. So he can't go to this Europe. He gets invited to Europe to stand party, but he can't go for his job. So he makes a plan to quit within the year, and then he becomes a full-time professional sand carver. So he's carved for Google. He's carved for all these amazing places. So it's really neat. And so he's a professional sand carver. So you listen to it, career, have something you really love to do. Watch your ego and love yourself in your ups and your downs. And Ghana, gold mine country in Africa. Interesting. So have a great day. I hope you enjoyed this. Check out the blog, yesfinanciallyfree.com, and I'll see you again next live. Aloha. Aloha, and take care. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, and see you again soon. Bye.